Hello my dear friends, welcome to this video. In this video we're gonna learn how to use the Node.js modules, and also we're gonna learn how to create our own modules. In the last video I teach you how to get started with the Node.js, how to install the Node.js and how to run a server. So in this tutorial I'm gonna teach you how to use the Node.js module. So first of all, what is the Node.js module? What is the module? Let's consider modules are same as JavaScript libraries. A set of functions you want to include in your application is a module. The Node.js have a set of built-in modules which you can download, or it's inside this you can use them, and that is the modules built-in. But you can also include your own modules. If you want to include any modules from the Node.js, all you need to do is to put a variable name, call that module, and require. By using the require, you can include that module inside your application. For example, if you make a variable of HTTP and we require the HTTP, by using the HTTP module we can make a web server. If we require this one, our application can have access to the HTTP. In the last video we have created this server which runs on port 3000, and we also run that, and that's how you see how it works. But in this tutorial I'm going to explain each line of this code how it works. So this is actually a Node.js module which allows you to run a web server. So how this works, let me remove everything in here, and also I'm going to close my terminal. If I refresh, now it doesn't work. See, it's loading and there's nothing. My web server is closed. So we make everything from scratch. To make a web server, first of all you need to include that Node.js module. So to make a web server we need the HTTP module. To include a module you make a variable, I call it HTTP. You can call it anything you want. Then after that I use require, inside this bracket I use HTTP. You see, that easy. I can import a module inside my application. Okay, once I did that I can use this HTTP dot, and I can create a server by using HTTP dot create server, and inside this one we have to include a function, what we want to do. That's how the function comes in, and this function have two parameters. The first one is the request, the request, and the second one is the response. As you can see, it also gives you a tip in here, information. So the first one is the request and the second one is response. You have to put these two parameters, which you can use them later to do a lot in our application. And as you know, all the function require this curly bracket, and inside this curly bracket anything we write, our server does that. So first of all I want to tell my server this is an HTML, this is a web content, a web HTML file. To do that is very easy. Like we said, we have two parameters, which is first is the request and the second one is response. What the request does, request is like something we get, and the response is like the post. So we want to post something, that's why we use response, and just press dot. And you press dot, there's a lot of options you can use. What you want to use is to write the header of the page. So just type writeHead and open a bracket. Inside this bracket I want to write the state code. State code is something you have to write. 200 means everything is okay, you need to write that, comma, after that is the state message, what we want, what you want to send. I want to say my content type is text HTML, so just open a bracket, because this is inside an object. I say content type, and because this is an object, I have to put this is the key of the object, and this is the value, which is text/html. This line of code tell my server my file is a text HTML. This is what we send to the header. Okay, once we did that, we send another message. This time I use response, and I want to write something into my server. What I want to write? I want to write hello. Let's write another message. Welcome to my server page. I want to send this message. Any message you send, you just use response.write and your message. After that, we have to end this. You have to end this response. That's easy, right? We start with the header, we send a message, and we end that response. That easy. We type response and that's it. That's all. We write the header, we send the message, and we end this one. But it doesn't work. Why? Because we have to listen. We have to tell on which port the server should be run. To do that, after this all at the end here, I attach by dot what I want to say. I want to add a listener. So I add a listen. Inside this listen, I need to put my port name and number. So I want my server gonna run on port 3000. I just wrote 3000, and that's it. That's all. Just save by Ctrl S. Go to your terminal, open a new terminal, make sure you are inside the simple project, inside any folder you made your project is inside this one, and just type node and your project file, my first.js. Press enter, and now your server is running. If you want to get a message, let me quickly show you how to put a message in here. I close everything. Just after you are in the listen, after your port, just say console.log, and here a message, server is running. Of course you can add error checking and something like that, but this should be the most easiest way. So open new, and I type node, and my file name is, my project name is my first.js. And now you see we got a message, server is running. Now we know our server is running. Now if I go to this 127.0.0.1 and with 3000 port, if I enter, you see we get this welcome to my server message. You see that easily you can create your own server, and this is all done by Node.js module. You see how easy it is to create a server but by using Node.js, and that's all came from the Node.js module. So after that, we can also create our own module. You can create your own module and easily include them in your application. In the following example, I'm gonna make a module which returns the date and time. To do that, I make a file called my first module.js. So let's go to the visual code. I make a file, I call it my first module.js, and inside this file I want to write a code. This will be my module. So what I want to return the date. Okay, to do that I make a function. And what this function does, this function will return, let me call this function, I give it a name, my date time equal to function, and this function will return what? The date. This function will return the date. To export this function, this is very easy. At the beginning of this function, all you need to do is just write exports and exports your function name in your function. This way we can export this function as a module. Save your file. Okay, once you did that, once we did that, we want to now include my module inside my application. I want to use my first module in my application. To export your module inside your application. So I go back to my first project. Here I want to import that one. To import that one, just like we imported the HTTP, just say variable, give your module a name. I call it DT for date and time, and all you need to do is use require, and inside this bracket put this thing, and inside this one you have to link your module. And because my module is inside my simple project folder, it means my file is inside the parent folder. All you need to do is just type dot and slash, and then your module name come here. Just write it, my first module. This is how easy I imported my own module. Okay, after that I want to use that module to print the date into my server. You remember we created this in the last minute ago. After the welcome to my server page, I want to print the date. I want to print the date. Okay, how to do this? As you know from the JavaScript, to put another thing inside this, you need to add a plus to join it with. Okay, so what I want my module name, which is DT, and press the dot to get the options. From the DT, you see there we have my date time, something like this means this is inside this DT. I can click that one, and that easy I can use it now inside my code. Make sure to put this bracket. Okay, now let me save and restart my server. Note my first.js. Make sure you see here I open my first.js, not my first module, and that module can come inside my first.js by using this required. This is how I include this one. Now if I go here and refresh, you see this is my message, and this is the time and date. That easy I created my own module, and I imported that one inside my application. You can create as many modules as you want. You can create your anything you have imagination of it. You can create that one and import in your application just by one line of code, 1 or 2 line of code, that easily. Okay, that was it. That was how we imported. Okay, after this we have to talk about the Node.js HTTP module. The HTTP module is a built-in module inside the Node.js. If you call the HTTP, this allows in the Node.js to transfer the data like hypertext by using the hypertext transfer protocol, or that HTTP. To include it, just we talk and before, we make a variable, we call it, give it a name, and you require that one into our application. And to make a web server, we talked about it. To create a web server, first of all we require our HTTP module, and then by using this HTTP name we create a server. We give it a function. The function have a request and a response, and inside this function we can write the header, we can write a message, and we end the response. After that we make a listener, give it a port, and that's all how to make a server like we did it in here. Okay, after that what we have, this is everything we talked before. Okay, there is one more important thing. We want to read the query. The query string is also powerful tools of HTTP, which means by using this read query we can read the URL. For example, right now I am in the root folder, but if I say slash my page, I want to read this one. I want to be able to read everything inside after this URL. To do that we can use the URL. So let me create a file called demo http urls. Then go to my project, create a file demo http url.js. Now I'm inside this folder, this file. Okay, what I want to make a server, but this time I want to read the URL. I want to be able to read the URL of the server, and on any page I am, for example, like I told you, slash anything, I should be able to read that one. This is very easy. You just go to your visual code. I'm inside this file. Let me close the server. Now this page doesn't run because I want to create a new server. Okay, what I want, that's like before, very fast. I'm gonna import my HTTP library, sorry, the module HTTP, and after that I say HTTP dot create the server. We have a function which have the request and response. After that, this is what I want to create. I want to create the response, and response dot write head. I want to give it a header. For this set 200, and after that an object. The first one is the content type. I want to say it's a HTML file, and because this is object, I can write like this, text/HTML. Once we did that, what I want now, I want to send a message, response.write. I don't write anything here. After that, I want to say response.end, and I want to end my response. Okay, inside this response, right, before last time I sent a message like hello world or anything like that, but this time I want to get the URL value. I want to get the request URL. That is very easy. Here you see inside the function we have the request parameter, just like request, and put a dot. What you want to get from the request, I want to get the URL. I want to get the URL from the request. That easy. See the parameter name, and what from the parameter, I want the URL. If you put the dot, it gives you an options. Here you can find that URL. Where is it? There it is. This is all the things I can get. You can get the state code, you can get the state message, and there's many things. I want the URL right now, so I end my response, and I give it a listener on port 300. Also give it a console.log to print the message. Server is running. That easily. Let me save this one, open the terminal, just write node/your file name. This is demo http url.js. now my server is running. Let's open it, refresh, and as you can see, inside we are inside the root folder. If I write 123, we're inside 123 folder. If I write my page, we're inside my page folder. If I write server, let's say service, we have a first site /service, you can get that URL by using this request.url. It is not right? So in this video you learned a lot. You learned about the Node.js modules. You also learned how to make a module. You learn how to export and import your module. So you learn a lot of things. Here's one more thing I want to show you. In this video we learned how to take the page name or anything which is inside the URL, but we want something more than that. I want to use display the query string. By using this we can split the query. We can make the URL into pieces. For example, I have a URL, for example something like this, like I have a year of 2000. I want to get the user, but you also have the month. I have month of, for example, April or whatever. I want to be able to get the specific things from the URL. I want to be able to get the year in a separate file. I want to get the month in a separate variable. I want that. That's what the split does for us. So how are we going to do that? How we can do that? This is very easy to do this. It's very easy. I make another file inside my node, inside my project folder. I call it demo query string.js, and inside this file I make you a code which run a server, but we can be able to split the URL. so we can do a lot more now inside in our Node.js application. So just like before, we make an HTTP. This one is require the HTTP. We include the HTTP library, and after that, what I want to do, I want to also import another bolt-in library, which is the URL. Require this one. Now I imported two modules. The first one is the HTTP and the second one is URL, which allows us to split the URLs. So I make a server, http.createServer. You have to do a lot of practice to get into this very well. I have a function which has a request and also a response. Inside my function, what I want to do is I want to send a response of write header, and the state code will be 200. After that, I have an object which says the content type is text HTML, text/HTML. This is what we write on the header. After that, I want to let's finish this one, response.end. Okay, and after this I want to say response dot, I don't want to write response dot write. Where it is, response dot write. I don't want to write anything yet. Before writing anything, we have to write a few lines of code. What I want to do, I want to get the URL and split that one. To do that, I make a variable. I call it Q. You can call it anything you want. I say URL. I want to use this URL module. URL dot. What I want is, there you can see we have a lot of options to use. What I want to use is to parse this one. So just say parse, and inside this bracket, I just like before. That was how we get the URL. As you remember, we used the request.url. You need to put this one inside this function. That's how you can split the URL. But we also have to say this is a query. So dot query, that easy. Just write this line of code. Okay, after that, now our URL is splitted, but we want to know what we want to get from server. Just like I told you, there we have URL. I have a year and a month. I want to be able to get the values of the year and the month. So make another variable. I call this, for example, text, and this text is equal to, so anything which, how I want to tell you, you have to use this variable name by what you want. This is the URL right now, displayed URL. So I say Q. From the URL, what I want to get the year. So just type year. And I also want to get from the URL the month. This one, I want to get the month also. Okay, just say q.month. I want to print both of them inside this text variable. You can put them inside another variable, but in here I want to print this everything in a line, so I have to put a space between them. You can also do it to put it inside another variables. Okay, now let's make it easier. So this is how we splitted the URL. So from the URL I get the year and also get the month. Now all you need to do is to get the text in, write it on the response. That easy. Now make a listener dot listen, and I want everything on port 3000. A console log server is running. Let's save this one, close this one, open a new terminal. I say note my file name, which is demo query string.js. Let's press enter. My server is running. Now if I go to inside my server, okay, why it's not working? Okay, let me there is a problem. What is the problem? Let me check. Okay, the problem is inside our code. Yeah, in here. After we pass the URL, we say the request.url, but we also have to say a true. That's what comma true. You have to add this one, so this allows you to be able to use this URL. Without this true, you cannot be able to use it. Just this true will fix everything. Let me save. Okay, let's remove that one. Let me save and run it again. Let's come back here and refresh. Now you can see where our server is running. If I say slash and I put here 2022 and a month of July and I press enter, now we see we get the values of the year and a month. If I change the month to April, it's changed to April. By using this URL module and few line of code, you're able to split the URL and get the values. If you want to change it to something else, for example, I don't want the here, I want the name. Just save. You have to restart the server. Let me do that. Now we have name and month. Now the name is undefined, so the here is undefined. So if I say name equal to, for example, Ali, and now you have the name in the month. You can, this is now how you have to put it. You can make a variable and I call it name. You can do q dot name and put this name inside here. That also works just fine because you can use it later on somewhere else. So the main goal is how you use the URL module and how to split the URL into different pieces. That was all about it. So you guys learn how to create how to use the built-in modules from the Node.js, how to create your own module, how to export and import that one, how to read the response URL, and how to split the query string by using the URL module. So that is too much for this video. If you like this video, make sure to like this video. If you have any question, let me know in the comment below. And most important thing, you need to subscribe and press the bell icon to notify when I create the next video. This is a video series about Node.js. I will try to make Node.js very easy for you, so you understand the Node.js and you can be able to use this in your real world. And that's all we want in this channel, in this video series. So in the next video we're gonna learn more about Node.js, and this is all about this video, and this video is finished. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe and press the bell icon. Have a great time, my friends. Goodbye.